Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Mad mod, which modifies a few vehicles. It modifies the Barstow, 200BX, Covet, Moonhawk, Bolide, D-Series, Roamer, T-Series, and 8-Series. So we're going to go through the list of cars. First one's the Barstow, and this one has the Barstow Scepter. And the description says, the Barstow Scepter, why so mad? And right off the bat, you can see some of the custom parts for this thing. So in the back, we have a box. And what is that a box of? It's a box of Mr. Madness cereal that's held down by this strap that wiggles all about as you drive. Then we have a mysterious tank. Doesn't tell you what's in there. It could be an additional fuel tank for all I know, but there's no way to know for certain. Then we have another mysterious thing. It's a box that says, do not open. If you try to, squeeze your head into there and see what's in it, it's invisible on the inside. Because you always wonder, well, what's in there? Don't quite know. We also have this extra, I don't know if that's really a spoiler or a wing, but we have a piece right there, and it looks very similar to what you would put on a truck when you're towing a trailer. That's what it reminds me of. I think you have a custom engine piece right there because I don't recognize it from anything else. And then we have the side exit exhaust. There's 4 pieces, and it's a V8 engine, so you have 4 on each side. There you go, 1 for each cylinder. And then, of course, you have the rust paint job, which is not only on the outside of the vehicle, but it's also on the roll cage on the inside of the vehicle. So how does it drive? Well, we have a lot of ground clearance and a decent amount of power, so it works really good in this kind of environment where you have some bumps that you can go over, but no crazy rock climbing or anything like that. So we can hit this bump at like 50 miles per hour and probably be fine thanks to all that ground clearance right there. It really helps the car hold up for something like that. Or you can hit it slower and just kind of go over the terrain as well. So we could do it like maybe 30 miles per hour right here, and it bounces about, but it makes it over nice and cleanly with no damage. The other one did damage it a little bit, I think, because it's not driving perfectly straight, but it's still driving pretty straight for how much it flew right there. Actually, it is driving perfectly straight almost. Like, it's just a little bit of pull to the right there, as you're seeing, because I did nothing at all for that section. So here's another jump, and this one's a little bit harsher than the last one. And my cereal's gone! My cereal just fell out of my car! So it landed on its side, and I really don't think it's going to be able to drive too well here, but we will pull it upright and see what happens. So just yank, and oh my goodness, there's no way this thing's going to drive good. No, we could do donuts all day, and that's probably about it. So let's just go ahead and refresh this car up and drive a little bit more, because I was hoping we could get a bunch of the parts to fall off, but so far only my cereal fell. That was it. Just the cereal. Because the other parts, as far as I know, do come off with enough force. We just got to make that happen, or if we don't, there are other solutions. Alright, so the car is kind of bouncing right there. I don't know if you saw that. Must be a side effect of all this extra ground clearance. It's really stiff, so like this road has a little bit of a bump to it, and you feel it in this thing. Let's go ahead and let it fly again. This one's gonna be violent though, because we're gonna, yes, okay, I think some things flew out of the back. We lost the cereal and the mysterious package. And I see the cereal over there in the distance bouncing around. Let's go ahead and get this thing upright so we can take a look at the damage. So looking at the damage, nothing too unexpected. It's still mostly a Moonhawk, and what's going to get broken. A lot of the pieces that were attached will just fall off. And not everything fell off, so we're going to do the last ditch attempt to make things fall off. So what do you do for the last ditch attempt? You go really fast, and then you hit the break all brake groups button and let everything fall off. So we'll get it up to about highway speeds. Easier said than done with this thing. It's being a little squirrely, but there we go. I'm gonna put some slow-mo on. We're gonna go to the menu, go to fun stuff, and then we're gonna hit brake, and then everything falls off. Everything falls off. That looks pretty cool. Worth it. So you can see the pieces do come off, but they are pretty well attached. And also, apparently, breaking everything also breaks the fuel line, so it catches on fire for some reason. Let's let it kind of coast to a stop and figure out what car we're going to use next. So I think the next one on the list would be the 200BX. And for the 200BX, we have the 200 Nights and then the Sport 200 Nights. We'll start off with the Sport version of the car because I like sport cars. And as you can see, this thing also has a bunch of visual changes. So it has this crazy looking front bumper right there. Then it has the Sport hood, but it's been cut up a bit so you can have the exhaust exiting straight through the hood. And then we have boarded up windows everywhere. Front, side, and rear windows are all boarded up. And if you go in the car, your visibility is really, really awful. Like, you'll be cutting people off because you just have blind spots everywhere. Like, you can't even really see the mirrors because the windows have been so boarded up. It's terrible, but also hilarious at the same time. So back to the outside. We also have a fuel tank, I think. Like, it has some words on it, but I can't read the words. And then we have, like, an outside roll cage. So if we rolled over, I'm thinking that would give you some extra structural strength. And then, of course, you could strap a tire to that. And you got the paint job. Makes this thing look real crazy. So let's go ahead and drive this thing around a bit. And performance is very similar to the Moonhawk, where it's like a 200BX, but lifted and decently powerful. So if you want to do something like this, sure you can. Oh, unless that happens. Well, actually, we should still be able to drive no problem after that. We just lost some of our accessories and lowered the roofline a little bit. Let's see. Still driving straight enough. It's pulling to the right side, but I don't think it's going to slow us down too badly. We can still go over to the bumps and do another jump. This time we'll do it a little bit slower. We'll only do it at about 40 miles an hour. Oh, radiator damage. That's not a concern. My wing flew off. And now my fuel flew off. And what does it say? It says, do not drink. That's what that thing says. Let me zoom in so you can see that. Do not drink. Pretty obvious. Who would drink from a fuel can? That'd be the stupidest thing I could possibly imagine drinking out of. Like, why would you do that? Alright, now this thing is really beat up and it's pulling hard to the left. But it still can accelerate, so it can still do a little bit more. We got some rough terrain over here where we could probably bop it off the edge and have a little bit of air. No, not any air. Maybe if we hit that road. There's a place to get some air. Oh, that's a lot of air. Ooh, miraculously, it still wants to go. That is impressive. Like, these suspensions are pretty heavy duty. Because it's been through 3 jumps already. One of them was barely a jump, but it's still been through 3 jumps in total, and it's still driving straight enough where we can accelerate and then hopefully fly again if I can find a good spot to. Just kind of driving through here looking for a spot. Unfortunately, I don't see nothing. So let's just go ahead and coolant's overheating. This car ain't gonna last much longer. This is what happens when you damage your radiator. Also, when you block off all the intake with this big old piece of metal. Actually, it's not that blocked off. You can still see the radiator just fine. Turbo is overheating. Alright, let's do what I was going to do, though. We're going to go to the side over here and hopefully get this thing into the air. No, piston ring's damaged. I don't think we're going to make it with any amount of speed. Come on. Keep going a little bit longer. Look, a little bit longer. Head gasket damage. It's going down, but we got a little air. The final air. And it was a little. If we had that full speed, it wouldn't have been so little. Alright, connecting rod bearings are damaged. It's just a matter of seconds before this thing dies. But it put up a fight. It really put up a fight. Alright, I can't accelerate anymore and is dead. That was impressive. So as I said, though, there are 2 versions of this thing. Let's go ahead and pull up the next one. Now, as far as I could tell, they are identical except for the color scheme. I skimmed through the parts menu and the only difference I could find was the color. It had the same suspension setup, the same engine, and then all the additions the other one had, but this one doesn't have the orange on it. So let's see if it can climb a hill. This is something you would definitely have to do if you were living in this kind of world where this is the kind of car you would drive, and it is struggling just a little bit, but it made it up the hill. And instead of doing big jumps, how about we try something else? How about we just kind of try driving through the terrain and trying to keep it smooth? I mean, we have all this extra ground clearance, so it should be able to stay smooth through terrain that isn't the smoothest. So, you know, a little bit of rough bumpiness here and there. It'll probably do okay. I mean, right now we're staying on the road just to kind of get up to speed at first, but we're just going to go straight right here. We don't need to go with the left and right of the road. Just straight ahead. See how it does. Yeah, it's working out nice. I have full control over the vehicle, and I don't think you could do this with a normal 200BX. So, a little bit of flight. Didn't see that coming. Just lost my tire, but all that ground clearance really made that a smooth landing, and we can keep on going up the rock, slowing us way down. So I see a building over there. Let's go ahead and go towards the building. See, it's like we all planned it out. We wanted to make a straight path to my destination, which is that building. And we're going to see if we can actually clear that lip right there. I see a bit of a lip. And no, we cannot clear it. We will crash directly into it and ruin the vehicle. You can't really see it too well, so let me just go ahead and try to flip it upright so you can see what's going on here. There we go. Come, yes, no. All right, you know what? Grab it again and get it upright. There we go. Now you can see. Yes, in fact, the vehicle is damaged. So we should get a new one. And with that new one, we should do the same thing we did with the Moonhawk, where we get it up to speed, and then we hit break all brake groups and watch all the pieces fly everywhere. So let's go ahead and get this thing up to speed, and I have the menu ready to go. So I'll wait for this thing to get up to about 90 miles per hour or so, or until I lose patience. It looks like it's going to get to 90. There we go. Pop everything off, and you can see lots of pieces coming off, and you notice the pieces on the windows on the side come off separate from the door. Although the piece on the windshield and rear window, those are permanent and they'll never come off. Now this will come off, it just managed to stay on due to gravity and such. Same with these pieces, they're actually falling off. But you'll see like that window doesn't come off, it is permanently there. This thing right there, same thing. So let's go ahead and go to the next vehicle, which is going to be the BeamNG Covet. And we're going to be taking a look at the Little Turtle, which is a small armored car, but it can be easily destroyed by a hit and by itself. It is not the best car for Mad Wars. And just like the previous two vehicles, this thing has a bunch of additions. So on the front we have a different bumper, and the windows are all boarded up just like the last one, although this one also has like reinforced doors as well. And if we actually go on the inside of this thing, visibility is laughably bad. We got these two little slits we can look at on the sides, and we have that hole we can look out for straight ahead of us. We actually have more blind spots than we do visible spots with this thing. It's that bad. On the top we have a mohawk, and to match up the mohawk we got some spikes on the fenders, you know, because you don't want to have your fenders sticking out because that's illegal. So, you know, put spiked fenders on it. Yeah, that's good. And then we also have some spikes on the rear, and the back of this thing's kind of been replaced by like just a cage, it looks like. I don't really know what you would call that, but you see what I mean. And then also has a big wing on it, and then an extra tire as well. So let's go ahead and drive this thing around a little bit. Now it's still front wheel drive. You would think with that dually setup, maybe it's rear wheel drive or something. No, it's still front wheel drive only. The dually that's just there because it looks cool. That's the only reason. Although it would have been funny if it was like a dually front wheel drive car, because I don't think I've ever seen that ever. What? Radiator damaged and rear suspension. You're supposed to be strong with your dually. What are you doing? Falling apart already. Oh, now this thing's ruined. This thing is completely ruined. Also, I learned this the hard way. Do not hit the break all brake groups with this one. For some reason, the game crashed 3 times in a row when I tried it, so I just decided we're not going to try that. This thing has become pretty mangled. It still can accelerate, but I don't think it's going to actually put down power. Those wheels look disconnected, so let's just go ahead and bring it back up here and do a little bit more driving up here, because I want to try to climb the mountain with this thing. I don't think it'll be able to, but I want to give it a shot and see if it can. So we're only going about 40 miles per hour right here. This is not looking promising at all. Let's see. Come on. Well, look at this. It's actually making it. I am pretty surprised about that. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of staying where it's a little bit easier, but that's just called using strategy and not going straight up the cliffside. A little bit of loss of power right here. Come on. Uh-oh, it's gone. It just doesn't have the traction. I'm going to go off to the side to kind of straighten things out. All right, we're not going to make it up any higher, so let's go to that road and then drive. I was going to say drive on that road, but doesn't that look appealing to drive off of? Like it's a little bit of a jump kind of thing. There we go. Gets us in a rotation, and tumble, tumble, tumble we shall. So spikes fell off. Rear suspension is completely blown up, and the car is now on fire. There goes a wheel. Just flying away, going bounce, bounce, bounce. Can we do anything at all? I think it's broken. We'll reset it again and then do one last drive. This time we're just gonna go perfectly straight. I'm not gonna steer at all. I'm just gonna accelerate and see what happens. I don't think it's too steep here, but it's enough where it could cause the car some trouble, I'm thinking. So let's see here. Oh yeah, that's steep. All right, it's good though. Oh, it's going the wrong way. It is steep on this direction. If you go this direction, car, this is what happens if I don't do any steering. The car just gets itself into trouble. All right, I'm gonna stop accelerating since we're upside down, and we're gonna just end up at the bottom of this little ravine right here. Guess it used to have water at one point in time, but now it's all dried up, and you have a bridge that remains for basically no reason at all. Anyways, let's go ahead and reset this. And actually, let's change the map up as well. So I guess I didn't need to reset it, but let's move over to Ghost Desert just to get a little bit of a different environment. And the first vehicle we're going to be using here is still in a BeamNG Covet, but it's a little bit different. This is the Little Turtle with cannon. So the description here says the Little Turtle with a mad cannon, which badly affects the handling. But really, if you're strapping a cannon to the top of your car, do you care about the handling? The answer is probably no. You care about, does the cannon work properly? And yes, it does. Now, the controls are not listed in the top right corner of the screen, but they are listed on the cannon. It says, shoot carefully. This gun can break your computer, so don't press T. But we're going to press T a lot. But we need a target first. So I'm thinking, let's just go with an H15 Vanster off-road, so that way we have a big old target that we hopefully can't miss. And I got it in brilliant blue, so we get some brilliant cannon shots. So we're going to drive this thing forward a bit, then do a quick 90-degree rotation on it like this, maybe a little bit more. Take a look at the angle of that. Perfect. Now, since the cannon is sitting on top of the Covet, you don't want to just shoot directly at it. You want to kind of do a little bit of a dive first. I'll show you what I mean. So we're slowing it down a little bit. When we get close to them, we slam on the brakes. When we slam on the brakes, the car dives a little bit. Then you shoot the cannon, and that's how you get a direct hit into whatever your target is. In this case, it was the H series. So we can take a look at this thing. Pretty good amount of damage, and you know what? I think if we keep hitting it, we can do a complete rollover with it. So we're going to get a new Covet, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We accelerate, slam on the brakes, and then shoot. And I use the slow-mo here just because it's a little bit difficult for me to do all this at once, because I use the controller for everything but shooting. So I have to take my hand off the controller, which can be a little bit awkward. Like right here, taking the hand off, shooting, and we're going to get it onto its roof. Next shot, we'll get it onto its side again. Oh, wait. Actually, that almost got it onto its side already. I'm pretty sure this is actually going to work, though. We're going to flip it over by just hitting it over and over and over again. I probably should have turned the engine off, but it's too late now. It's going to just overheat itself because everything's upside down. So dip, shoot. Careful now. Come on, come on. Oh, it worked. It worked. We got it right side up. That's awesome. All right, let's see. Does it still drive at all? Oh, parking brake's on. Oh, it drives great. Because all the damage is just on the body. Like, the suspension and stuff is unharmed. Alright, what if we try to open up these doors? They still open. I don't know what you would ever put in there. It's so beat up, but the door's still open. You know what that means? It's time for another round. We're going to park it right in front. This time we're going to hit it. I was going to do the back, but I like having my doors being functional. So instead, let's hit it right in the front. I'm not sure if we'll hit the engine or the windshield. I think it kind of just depends how hard I brake, really. So park it right there. Reset the Covet so we get a new cannon. At least I think it's like a one-shot cannon just like the other cannon. I never actually tested that. So getting up to speed again. Slow motion. Oh goodness. Getting a little swerved up. So just shoot it. I see that time I didn't brake, so it just barely made contact with it. If we had a shorter vehicle, that would not have worked. So thankfully I picked the off-road one. And the cannonball is now on my front right there, just kind of hanging around. Okay, see, can we roll it off? Yep. Also, there's a little piece of my car that fell off. Bye. Alright, reset. How's this thing doing? Yeah, it can still drive, so let's go ahead and hit it again. This time we're going to hit it a little bit lower because I'll actually hit the slow-mo right and hit the brakes right. That last one was bad, but it still made contact, which is what's important. So we get 2 times slow-mo, 4 times slow-mo, slam these brakes on, and then fire. There we go. That one actually hit low on the windshield. Looks like we're not going to do much more to this thing shooting it at the windshield. It's kind of as deformed as it really wants to get, isn't it? We'll do one more, see if we can notice a difference. So you got to get this thing up to speed. This thing does not seem to accelerate well in the sand. I'm noticing that now. Like, you would think this thing might have, you know, really good tires for that. I don't think it really does. Maybe it's because it's a dually, it messes it up. I don't know. Alright, so yeah, another hit. It deformed it a little bit, but it's not like those big hits we were getting at the start. You know, it's just kind of gradual. Up, a little bit more damaged. Up, a little bit more damaged. If we want those big hits, we need a big target like the side of this thing. So just park it like that, and then here we go. Time to shoot. And this time, let's use lots of slow-mo. Extra slow-mo this time. So we do 4 times slow-mo, 16 times slow-mo. Hit the brakes a little bit to get it to dip. So you see right here, cannon angling down. And then when it's at the ideal angle, you fire. Ooh! That's why it's a dually. I just realized it. When you shoot the cannon, the back end of this thing really just dips down from the force of the shot. That's why it's a dually. Here, let me show you if you didn't see that. So look, 16 times slow-mo, we're just going to fire the cannon. Look at that. The front wheels aren't even on the ground. Now I finally get why it's a dually. Okay. That cannon, unfortunately, not going to hit anything. And if this thing is upright, I'm pretty sure it can still drive amazingly well. Let's just do that real quickly and see. Do you still drive? Yeah. It drives fine. Maybe a little bit to the right, but for how damaged it is, this is amazing that it still drives this good. Let's see, is it extra top heavy because all the weight's been screwed up? Can we roll it nice and easy? Yes, we can. Can we land upright? Well, drive shaft to the rear is broken anyway, so I don't know if I care enough. Coolant's overheating. Let's just go ahead and reset it. And the next vehicle we're going to be taking a look at is a mod for the Brooklyn Moonhawk. It's called the Half Beam, and it says HL3 is a lie. What is HL3? Half-Life 3. And you could very obviously tell that this vehicle is referencing Half-Life because if you look at the name on the back that says Half Beam, it uses the Lambda just like Half-Life uses the Lambda as the logo for their games. And then if you look at the vehicle itself, it is very, very similar to the one in Half-Life from the way that the roof is shaped and then the front area is designed, the front bumper, the color scheme, all of that is very Half-Life-like. Now this is probably not a good vehicle for this environment, unfortunately, because it doesn't have off-road tires. It's more of a, I think it's actually like slicks if we look at them, aren't they? Yeah, those are basically slicks, which have no traction in the dirt. So if we want to drive this thing around, I think we need to just go ahead and swap maps real quickly. So let's just move over to grid map for this test. And we'll spawn it up one more time. So we go Brooklyn Moonhawk, then we click the half beam, and then we get to drive around a little bit. Check this out. Boom, you accelerate, and we get traction, and we're moving. We're already going to hit 50 and up to 60 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and hit the loop, and then jump off of it, and hopefully we get some cool looking damage from this. So we'll pop it way into the air. So we're going to have a long flight to the ground. As long as we don't land on our wheels, we should have a good looking crash. There we go. Got some damage to the roof. Got one of those front fender bars to disappear. Don't know exactly what to call them. They're like bars, but they work as fenders, so front fender bars. And I'm actually kind of curious, how does this roof strength compare to the normal one? So let's do a test. We're going to get 2 Moonhawks in, see what happens. And the test, to keep it nice and consistent, I'll show you the strategy. First, we park one in the tube, then we're going to park the other one right behind it. Then we go to gravity, and we change the gravity. So park right there. Go to Brooklyn Moonhawk, and for the test, it really doesn't matter which one I use, so we'll just use the stock one that choice is, which is a V8 version. Now, I want them to both be pointed in the same direction for consistency's sake, so just go ahead and try to fix it up like that. That looks pretty good. Save the spot. And we'll save the spot in the other one as well, just in case anything goes wrong. Then we're going to pull up in the menus. We're going to go to Environment, and then we're going to hit Negative Earth. Go ahead and try to get this in a little bit of slow-mo so you can watch the roof get compressed. Smoosh. Oh, camera angle, what you doing? All right, let's just get the camera off the car. You can take a look at the two. So this is what that one looks like. Pretty damaged. How does the stock one look? Actually, it might be more damaged. So in fact, those metal bars are stronger than the stock roof. Although I'm looking at that and I'm looking at this one, they just kind of deformed differently. Like this one, the body is still straight, but the roof crushed in. Over here, though, that body is not straight. That thing is trying to become a banana. So that's interesting. Let's go ahead and put them back on the ground, see if we can get a different look at them. We'll bring them down slowly. We'll use the moon gravity so I don't get any additional damage here. So just go to moon, and then earth right there. Shouldn't cause too much additional damage. So you see that one, the rear end is way kicked up. Here, it's not. But then the roof is going through the steering wheel. Over here, the roof is still above the steering wheel. That is interesting. So there's definitely a structural difference. That's awesome. That's what I was curious about, though, is if there'd be a structural difference. I wonder if half of it's from the missing doors or not. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that much in-depth of testing. I just wanted to see specifically if there'd be a difference. And I'm actually going to end this video here. I know there are more vehicles to this mod. I will deal with them in another video, because if I try to do them all in one video, it would probably end up taking about 40 minutes. And that's just absurd. Like, nobody's gonna watch a video that long. Barely anybody watches videos that are 20 plus minutes long. So I'm gonna be ending this one here. Hopefully we just do it in 2 parts. Maybe there'll be 3 because the other ones have more depth. Don't know yet. Anyways, until next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.